It's the year 2027. You're a doctor working in a busy emergency room. A patient arrives unconscious and you immediately need to know if they have life insurance. You look at your computer where an algorithm has already assessed the patient based on their vitals and assigned them a priority for care. But wait, the algorithm concludes this patient isn't a priority because they don't have insurance. Do you go with the machine's recommendation or do you override it? Are there other factors you should consider? Welcome to 2027. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's 2023, or maybe it could be tomorrow. Artificial intelligence is rapidly changing our world. It's transforming healthcare, hiring, law enforcement, finance, manufacturing, and more. But as AI takes on more responsibilities, it's also making decisions that impact our lives in ways both big and small. And many of these decisions are raising new moral and ethical dilemmas. AI is increasingly being used to decide who gets hired, who gets a loan, who gets healthcare, and more. And it's doing so often without our knowledge and sometimes with unintended consequences. So here's the question we want to answer in this episode of Algorithm Frontiers. What are the major ethical issues facing AI today, and how can we solve them? We'll cover 4 key moral complexes that are reshaping the AI frontier. First, algorithmic bias. Second, privacy and surveillance. Third, accountability and transparency. Fourth, human versus machine morality. So let's get started with number 1, algorithmic bias. Algorithms can reflect and even amplify existing biases in society. This can happen in a few ways. First, the data used to train an algorithm may contain biases, which can lead to discriminatory outcomes. For example, a hiring system trained on historical data may inadvertently favor male candidates over female candidates if the data reflects gender bias in the past. Second, the algorithm itself may have biases built in due to the way it was designed. For instance, a facial recognition algorithm may be less accurate on people with darker skin tones if it was primarily trained on lighter skin faces. Third, even a well-intentioned algorithm can perpetuate stereotypes and discriminate against certain groups. For example, a credit scoring algorithm may unfairly deny loans to people from certain neighborhoods based on aggregated data about the area rather than individual creditworthiness. These biases can have serious consequences. They can reinforce societal inequalities and lead to unfair or even abusive outcomes. That's why it's so important to develop and use algorithms responsibly. We need to be aware of potential biases at every step and take measures to mitigate them. This includes using diverse and representative training data, carefully designing algorithms to avoid bias, and testing algorithms thoroughly to ensure fairness. No, 2, privacy and surveillance. As AI systems become more powerful, they also become more invasive. Many AI applications rely on collecting and analyzing vast amounts of personal data, which raises concerns about privacy and surveillance. Here's the problem. AI can process huge amounts of data quickly and efficiently, which makes it ideal for tasks like pattern recognition and risk analysis. But this means that AI systems often have access to sensitive personal information. For example, a smart city may use AI to monitor traffic patterns and optimize traffic flow. But this can also mean that the AI system has access to location data from millions of mobile phones. Similarly, a social media platform may use AI to recommend content to users based on their interests. But this means that the AI system has access to users' private messages and personal information. This raises concerns about how this data is being used and whether it is being used in a way that respects people's privacy and civil liberties. For example, governments and corporations may be tempted to use AI-powered surveillance systems to monitor citizens and consumers. This could lead to a society where people are constantly being monitored and their every move is tracked and analyzed. That is why it is important to have strong privacy and surveillance laws in place to protect people's civil liberties and prevent abuse. These laws need to be regularly reviewed and updated to keep pace with advances in AI technology and to ensure that people's privacy is being respected. No. 3. Accountability and transparency. AI systems are often complex and opaque, making it difficult to understand how they work and who is responsible when things go wrong. This lack of transparency can make it difficult to identify and correct biases and can also make it hard to hold anyone accountable when an AI system causes harm. For example, an AI-powered hiring system may make biased decisions without anyone realizing it. And if something goes wrong, it may be difficult to figure out why or how to fix it. This lack of accountability can lead to mistrust and reluctance to adopt AI in important domains like hiring and lending. That's why it's important to develop AI systems that are transparent and accountable. This includes developing methods for explaining how AI systems work and for monitoring them to ensure they are being used responsibly. It also means establishing clear lines of responsibility and liabilities so that there is someone to hold accountable when things go wrong. One approach to making AI more transparent is to use explainable AI or XAI techniques. XAI techniques are methods for making AI systems more interpretable and understandable to humans. For example, one XAI technique called Local Interpretable Model Agnostic Explanations can create an easily interpretable model that approximates a black box model's behavior locally. Another approach is to develop new regulatory frameworks specifically for AI. These frameworks would establish clear guidelines and standards for developing and using AI systems and would provide a way to monitor and enforce compliance. No. 4. Human versus machine morality. One of the most profound ethical dilemmas posed by AI is the question of morality. As AI systems become more sophisticated, they'll be asked to make decisions that require moral reasoning. The question is, can machines really be trusted to make these decisions? And if so, how can we ensure that they align with our moral values? To address this challenge, we need to develop AI systems that can reason about morality and make decisions that are consistent with human values. This requires new research in areas like moral psychology and philosophy, as well as in computer science and engineering. We also need to have public discussions about what role AI should play in moral decision-making and how we can ensure that AI systems are aligned with our values. Some experts argue that AI will never be able to truly understand or even simulate human morality. In this view, AI systems can only mimic human behavior and can never truly replicate the complexity of human values and intuitions. Others argue that AI can and should be trusted to make moral decisions, provided that we can develop robust and reliable AI systems that are aligned with our values. This debate is ultimately a philosophical one that will require careful consideration and public discourse, but it is also a practical one that will have real-world implications for how we develop and use AI in the future. As we look to the future of AI, it's clear that we're at a critical juncture. We have the opportunity to build systems that are not only powerful and efficient, but also fair, transparent, and accountable. However, to do this, we must confront the major ethical dilemmas facing AI today, including algorithmic bias, privacy and surveillance, accountability and transparency, and human versus machine morality. These are complex and challenging problems, but they're not insurmountable. By working together, we can develop solutions that allow us to harness the power of AI while mitigating its risks. The future of AI is not just about what we can build, but what we should build. It is up to us to ensure that AI benefits all of humanity and doesn't leave anyone behind. It's time to act. Let's work together to shape the future of AI and build a better world for everyone. So let me ask you, what do you think is the biggest AI ethical challenge we face today? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Algorithm Frontiers. If you enjoyed the content, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't already, Please subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. Your support helps us continue to produce high-quality content that explores the latest developments in AI and their impact on our world. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.